Hey there, animation fans! I'm the Comics Kid 2099 here to discuss an episode of Green Lantern the Animated Series titled Reckoning. If you haven't seen the episode, go hence and do so before you continue listening to this review. And while you're gone, I'll do a quick plot synopsis before I get into the review itself. The crew of the Interceptor has been stalking Atrocitus' headquarters trying to come up with a game plan. Razor decides that their planning will be all for naught and plans a diversion so that he can kill Atrocitus alone on a suicide mission. But the rest of the team go in to rescue him. Things don't quite go as plan. Aya is damaged, but can repair herself. Razor finds out Atrocitus is responsible for the war that claimed his planet, and specifically for the death of his wife. And Aya finds out that Atrocitus has an army of warships that he's prepared to use. Cue credits. So this episode does fill in some of the blanks on Razor's backstory, and possibly the backstory of many of the Red Lantern recruits. One of my questions when watching the pilot was, did each Red Lantern lose a planet like Atrocitus did, and is that why they all hate the Guardians? We still don't know the specifics of how Atrocitus lost his planet, but knowing how sinister the Guardians can be at times, I don't doubt that they at least had something to do with it. But now we find out that, at least in the case of Razor, Atrocitus was actually behind the scenes fanning the flames of war. And I'm not sure if he saw potential in Razor as a recruit before he fanned the flames of war or in the act of, but at least the death of everyone in Razor's village was specifically to set Razor on the path to becoming a Red Lantern. Now this does raise some new questions. Did Atrocitus do something like this for every Red Lantern? How long would this take? Do any of the other Lanterns know about his tactics? I would think not, because if Big Beach Ball Head Guy knew what Atrocitus did to Razor's world, even he might question what happened to his own world. So is Atrocitus somehow secretly going to every world in the Frontier, if all of these Lanterns lived in the Frontier, and secretly destroying their entire planet so that he can tell them the Guardians are responsible for the death of their planet? Seems like that could take hundreds of years with how big I'm assuming the Red Lantern Corps is. Sure, we only see like 5 actual Red Lanterns, but then you have the security guards and the cleric and the dozens of warships, so this is a pretty big operation. Maybe Atrocitus is immortal since he seems to know about the Manhunters, who, as far as I understand it, generally existed before any of the Green Lanterns. But if Atrocitus is immortal, are all of the other Red Lanterns? Why are the Green Lanterns only just now finding out about Atrocitus if he's been around for this long? Sure, he's only been active on the Frontier where there's only like 4 other Green Lanterns, but if he's been around for as long as it seems like he has been to have built this big of an empire, then I think the Green Lanterns would have found out about him a little sooner than they did. Moving on to the episode itself, it tries to make us think that Razor is going back to rejoin the Red Lanterns. He plants a bomb on the ship, which apparently is bad enough to cause actual flames visible from a few hundred feet away from the ship, but inside the ship everything seems to be perfectly normal. And when he returns to Red Lantern HQ, we get a big foreboding "I'm back, dun dun dun" moment before we cut to credits. And even if I had never seen the rest of the series, heck, even if I had never seen any other story other than what I've watched in this series, this would not have fooled me for 1 second. We've already spent a lot of time following Razor's journey from prisoner to reluctant ally to slightly less reluctant ally. I'm fine with Razor believing that he has nothing to lose and he's actually saving the crew of the Interceptor if he takes out Atrocitus on his own and dies in the process. That all totally makes sense, and what we know about survivor's guilt and stuff like that, it fits with Razor's character. But episode, don't try to make us think that Razor is returning to the dark side after all of his character growth. That would be really silly, and we know that this series is better than that. I guess the reveal that Atrocitus was responsible for the death of Razor's world makes Razor's motivations to get Atrocitus more personal, but I still feel like that is a retcon that only makes things more confusing. So I'm kinda torn on that. At this point, I don't know if Razor needed a personal villain who killed a loved one to keep him motivated. He seems like he was well on the path to doing heroic things because it's the right thing to do, and not because he has a personal stake in it. So I'm not really feeling that one. I do like that we get a little bit more information about why the Red Lanterns hate the Guardians. I think the pacing of this arc is just right. We're not rushing things, but it's not going too slow either. It certainly helps that the non-arc episodes have been pretty good too. Overall, I like this episode. It does raise some questions that I'm not sure the series has answers for, but it adds a lot of forward momentum to the series arc, and it's got some great character interactions. So that's it for this week, but next weekend I'll be talking about another episode of Green Lantern the Animated Series, and before that I'll be doing some other videos during the week, so be sure to check those out too. Catch you later.